You know, I'm excited to be here for a lot of reasons because I love to be around people who are positive. And it's interesting because do most of you experience a lot of people who say they're positive? Do we believe them all? No. How hard is it to tell that they're lying? It doesn't take very long, does it? Well, part of what I'm going to talk today about is that lying thing. But if those of you who know me, you know I have to start with a story. The story I want to talk with you about to begin with is about a young man named Ben. See, I had the great pleasure of meeting Ben about 4 years ago. Ben at the time, Ben was about 10 years old, and I met him through some of my nonprofit work. I'm on a board that raises money for research for leukemia and blood cancer. So you can guess why I met Ben. And I talked to his mom that evening, and I heard an amazing story about Ben. See, his mom shared with me that Ben was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 3 years old. Pretty scary stuff, and those of you who have kids, I can't even imagine what that would be like. But the great news is Ben got better. But then it came back, and he was re-diagnosed with leukemia when he was 6. And now everybody was really scared because little Ben had beat it. But can he beat it again? So it was a very emotional time for the family, and they were more scared than they'd ever been for Ben. And his mom told me about a time when he was in the hospital getting his treatment, and his uncle came to see him. His uncle's scared, he's worried about Ben, and sitting in his room, Ben's uncle began to cry. And Ben looked over at his uncle and said, "There'll be no crying in my room because I'm going to live." 6 years old. No one had taught Ben about positive attitude, but Ben had it. Now, do we know for a fact that that saved Ben's life? We don't know it for a fact, but I'm pretty sure it made a difference. Did it have an impact? No doubt. And today, Ben is 14, and he's especially cool. I loved hanging out with Ben, although his mom's a little worried about him. I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "He gets calls from girls all the time." And I said, "Well, look at him. And with that kind of attitude, he's going to attract only the best." And she said, "That's not the problem, Jeff." I said, "What's the problem?" She said, "Ben's 14. The girls that are calling are 17. So I went over to Ben. I said, "Hey, Ben, what's your secret?" He just winked at me. Now see, Ben's cool. And Ben gets it. Ben didn't even know why he got it. Now the easy part for Ben is this. See, he was only 6, so he hadn't grown up being taught to be afraid. The challenge is the world has taught us to be afraid, to be fearful, to be negative, to be pessimistic. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the other word. To be a realist. Our friends aren't negative, they're realists. And we're Pollyannish, right? People tell me that all the time. This is a great line I get. People come up and say, "Jeff, how in the world are you positive all the time?" I answer it the same way every time with a question. Those of you who know me aren't surprised. My question is, why do you choose not to be? Oh, is it? No one's got anything after that. That's got, boom, gotcha. So I make them think. So that was the story of Ben. But now I have a question for you. I am the question guy. Now, this is not a hard question. Every one of you will get the answer immediately. It will take less than 5 seconds. You won't even need to write it down because the answer will pop in your head. I want you to think about all the people you know, not celebrities and people on the news, people you actually know, and picture in your mind the person you know who is the craziest person you know. Got it? It was pretty easy, wasn't it? Now here's my second question. How many of you, the person that came to mind was yourself? Keep your hands up. Look how many people here. When I ask that question, usually I'm lucky to get one. That's because of the nature of this group. So see, my invitation to all of you is 3 months from now, I don't even want to wait 6 months, 3 months from now, when you get asked that question, I want you to go, "Oh, it's me." Without a doubt, it is me, because for me, it's me. The only challenge is I'm around some real crazy people, so I have to keep up in the end, which is good. It's a good challenge. Now here's the reason I want you to be crazy. I say I want you to join me on the crazy train. Because here's what I've observed out in the world out there that we live in. How many of you, the people you know, and this group's unique, but most of the people you know, are most of them really ecstatically happy or not? No, it's a minority, right? How many of the people you know love their job so much they get up every morning and they're jumping up and down giddy saying, I can't wait to go to work? Majority or minority? Minority. And how many businesses do we know that are actually thriving versus just getting by or failing? Majority or minority? So here's my question. If the world doesn't have what we want, why are we doing what they're doing? That is crazy. But what I've learned is that when we take a different road, when we take a different path, the world goes, you're crazy. Now you know what my answer to that is now? Thank you. The more people that tell me I'm insane, here's my response when I get at least 3 going, you're nuts. I go, thank you, I am on target. I am going to keep going. See, the world out there, I think, is crazy, but when we go out and function the way we're talking about here, the world will see us as crazy. They'll go, oh, look at that dude. That's what you want. You want people wagging their finger at you. You're nuts. Get used to it. When someone goes like this, go, thank you. Where's gratitude, right? We want to be grateful for being called crazy. So I want you all to join the crazy train. What I'm going to share with you today are 4 really simple philosophies that I believe are the key to living life on the crazy train. And they're real short because I'm not that bright. Actually, my goal, I was on this big trip about 10 days ago, and my business partner was traveling with me, and he kept saying, Jeff, you're just so smart. And every time I said, I'm not that smart. In fact, my goal is to get dumber every day. Because the dumber I get, the more I learn. The dumber I get, the less I try and control. The dumber I get, the more I trust. Because in the world, we get smart and we go, I got this. Yeah. And we start juggling, I got it. And what we really need to do is let the balls fall and realize it's okay. So I got 4 philosophies to share with you. The first one, 2 words, show up. Now, all of you showed up today. Now, how many of you, when you were growing up, a parent or a friend or family member suggested to you that if you show up, you're way ahead of the world, because most of the world doesn't show up? Who was taught that? I was. But here's what I've learned. Showing up puts you ahead of most people, but that's not good enough, because most people are over here. Most people are unhappy or too miserable, and they're barely surviving. Why do I want to be one step above them by showing up? Here's what you got to be. You got to be all in. Most of the people I meet are not all in. And it's really easy to tell if you're all in. Because being all in is scary. If you're not scared, you're not all in. That's the truth. Every day, you should be a little scared. Trusting, but scared. Because being all in means you're over the cliff. See, the reality is we're all on the cliff. We just don't know it. And there's a couple ways you can live your life. You can live it in safe land, or what you think is safe, and that's way over here in the corner, far away from the cliff. I don't happen to think it's that safe.